Hello, everybody. Welcome to another learning live stream with me, Christian Schiller. It's Friday afternoon, so I'm looking at music, and I need to adjust my microphone. This is why I've got headphones on. Also, just realized there's still a bottle in the background. Let's move that out of the way. There we go. That's better. Okay, I'm looking forward to this one. I always look forward to Friday afternoons because at 2 p.m., 1400 Central European time, I invariably look at some kind of music project or creative project, and it's music today. And then a bit later at 1700, 5 p.m. Central European time, I will do a live play, some kind of game thing. And both of the topics I have today are exciting to me anyway. Maybe to nobody else, but to me. If you like what you see, you can find more about me at christianschiller.com. And if you're watching along and I'm just going live to YouTube, I think I'm going to stop Twitch for a bit. Not really going anywhere for me. Then subscribe. And if you are watching later, which you probably will be, then leave a comment. And I'd love to hear from you post-event. See what you think. And I think this one will be one that maybe we'll get some discussion afterwards. I'm just going to adjust my microphone. There we go. I think that's better. How's the volume? I think it looks okay. Maybe a little bit more. All right. So what am I looking at today? No, not that one. That was the wrong button. That was the right button. I am going to be looking at something called Magenta. What is Magenta? It's a rather generic name. It's actually interesting. I've done a few interviews with sort of behind closed doors projects from Google and Microsoft, and they always seem to pick these very generic names. Like Fuchsia was another Google project, and now we have Magenta, but they're not very related. It is instead, there we go, make music and art using machine learning. Machine learning is all the rage right now. I'm not going to look at the art side of this. I'm going to look at the music side. And just 1 second. I just want to I'm trying the YouTube plugin in Open Broadcast Studio, which I use for this stream. And the chat window is floating free and fancy. So I just wanted to make sure I could see it. I will also need to have Loopback, which I use for routing audio to things, open, because when we start getting some sound out of this, you want to be able to hear it. Otherwise, there won't be much point. So keep that open for now. So this is it. It's based on TensorFlow. Actually, this interests me. I need to have a look at this at a later date. Why did they not ask me? I've done loads of projects on this kind of thing. Anyway, I guess I'm not a famous writer. Not yet, anyway. I think it uses MIDI. So I have my MIDI keyboard here as well, ready to go. What is Magenta? It doesn't say a tremendous amount here. There's some demos. It is something you can download, and I have got it downloaded. My applications folder. I have a lot. I make extensive use of tags, and I have Magenta here. So there's a whole bunch of different applications. I don't know why they're in a weird straight line like that. And there's also an Ableton plugin, which I will look at later. Get that. That's a bit better. There we go. I don't exactly know why they were weirdly laid out like that. There we go. So, ready to play with Magenta, or is it ready to play with me? I don't know. This page will help you get started making music and art with machine learning and give you some resources if you want to explore your own. I am interested in Magenta as a musician mostly right now. Try out Magenta Studio. I have that downloaded, but let's open up the pages. Our neural synthesizer, NSynth. That sounds like a boy or girl band. And our MIDI-enabled web applications. There's a whole bunch of things going on here. So this is Studio. Standalone applications, version 1. Actually looks like it's updated quite a bit. So I'm thinking I should re-download this actually. Hopefully that won't take too long, because it looks like I have quite an old version actually. So it's not going to take too long. I think I might reinstall it just because in this something like this that's probably quite fast moving, it's probably a good idea to have the latest versions of things. So bear with me. And there we go. And it's still downloading. There we go. Oh, that's already expanded. I'm just going to add my little tags here. I find it useful to find things. Put that into applications. Now it's interesting because it says standalone here, but then it says it's a plugin for Ableton. So, and double click to launch the application. I mean, which one? There's several of them. It's slightly confusing. So which one do we open? I don't know. It's not. Slightly confusing. Continue uses the predictive power of recurrent neural networks to generate notes that are likely to follow your drum beat or melody. Give it an input. It's odd because it says standalone, but this is starting to feel more and more like it is a plugin, but the plugin is very separate. Okay, well, let's give it a try. Let's go in order. So all of the plugins work by choosing one or more files from your system. So I guess if you use the Ableton version, you can have it as an input instead. Temperature slider. Let's try and continue first. So an input file, what sort of input file? A drum, is that it wants a drum beat, or it like to follow your drum beat or melody? So anything, I guess. Let's find some files. I'm actually wondering if I think I feel like it was now possible in Loopback or even OBS to just route all audio. That would be easier in this particular context. Let's see. Bear with me, because I'm going to have to open so many things here. It'd be easier actually to just do it from. Let's see. Okay. I don't know. I'm just going to have to do every single one. So I'm going to add Finder audio first because I just want to find some drum beats. So I'm guessing that's a Finder. Don't know. We'll soon find out. So I do have some weird drums I've recorded in rehearsal. So it'd be good to maybe do something with some of those. Let's see. They're not always named in the most meaningful ways because half the time I'm still about to go through them. Drums. That sounds encouraging, doesn't it? Exceptionally loud, sorry. That wasn't a massively interesting drum beat. Maybe we'll find something better. Yeah, recording live drums is very loud. That seems okay, I think. All right, let's try that one. And hopefully I didn't blow your eardrums there, but sorry about that. Continue. Yes. This is where I really hope it opens and works. Oh, here it is. It's opened in a completely different window. Okay, well this is annoying. It's opened on a different screen and I can't move it. Oh, here we go. Ugh. It won't let you drag from the top. You have to drag from the body, which is odd. Okay, and let's add that into the mix so you can hear it. There we go. So I choose a file. Let's hope it accepts that format. No. Okay, well, what format do you want? It doesn't want to take any of those. All right, what file format do you accept then? MIDI. Oh, MIDI only. Huh. I think, you know what? MIDI plugin. It does actually explicitly say that. So I don't really have any MIDI files. So I think I'll have to try this as a plugin. So now come to think of it, it would be good to try it without the plugin first, but it's MIDI only, which I guess is easier because MIDI is more predictive. Samples could be all over the place. Maybe that's version 5. But I do actually have, I did have some MIDI files in Sibelius, however you pronounce it, which is a score editor. I find when it comes to drum beats, I find it easier to work in score, actually. It's taking its time. It's taking its very sweet time. There we go. Thank you. Did I keep any of them? Again, it's opening in the wrong window. I keep looking over here. This is my main screen over here. So things are endlessly opening in that window, which is very annoying. I suppose I could change it, but this, I use a special old screen for my streams because it's low resolution. So I don't tend to use it for much. It's still opening. I'm starting to think just opening Ableton is going to be much easier, but I really wanted to try. Oops, Sibelius is playing at me right now. Let's get over. I mean, we could actually just take one of these. It's going to be interesting. It appears that whatever I had before isn't there anymore. I wonder if I do have any MIDI files. Let's see. Don't think so. Most of the time you just tend to keep the MIDI in a separate application. There's a bunch here. I wonder if QuickTime plays them. Looks like it does. Oh, no, it doesn't. It recognizes them but doesn't play them. And I assume if, yeah, there you go. It says, should open. No. Okay, well, that's fine. None of these are mine though. So I think we can just jump in straight into using this as a, we could try one of these. Probably something simple. Scarborough Fair. Yeah. Okay. That's opened in the wrong window again. I'm just going to very quickly play this to myself, if I can remember how to play. Sort of what you'd expect. Can I export it as MIDI? Let's see. Seemingly not. So that's not particularly helpful. This is a very good application, but as you can see, it's completely non-standard, which is very annoying. I don't seem to be able to save it as MIDI either. You know what? I think this is becoming increasingly evident that I just need to jump into Ableton and use it as a plugin instead, because we're getting nowhere here. All right, fine, machine learning. I will succumb to your ways. Okay, so there is a plugin. It's available as a download from here. What is slightly unclear to me is, do you also need to install them separately? I'm not completely sure. The other thing I will say is it needs, as far as I could tell, it needs Ableton Suite. Generally I have Live Light, Ableton Live Light, and it wouldn't work, so I had to register for a trial of Suite for this video. The things I do for you. So let's jump in to that. Yet again, it's opened in the wrong window. Ableton. Let's get a bit of MIDI going. You can see it's working. We just need an instrument of some description, just so. Should we go for? It's like a bit of. It might actually be more interesting to open up. Let's just start with a basic riff, and then I will open up something more complicated I've worked on before and see what we can do. So let's just get a bass going. Okay, I'll take the octaves down a bit, I think. And again. Yeah. Just boost the volume a bit. Ableton is a lot, or MIDI is a lot quieter than my drum recording. Still a bit louder still, I think. That looks good. Okay. So let's record that. Okay, now I like clicks. There we go. All right, that'll do. Let's just do it. I don't know why this interface is so weirdly laid out. I think I was just messing around before. How do you reset? I don't see a way to reset the view, so we'll just put up with it looking weird for now. Okay. Just want to optimize that a little bit. If I'm going to show my work to the machines, I want to make sure it's at its best. So that is, let's quantize it to, yeah, that'll do. There we go. So. Oh, we need to adjust that. Not sure if it's going to matter or not when it comes to the plugin, but just out of interest. Seems reasonable. Okay. So now to use the plugin, you drag it into a MIDI track. Now that's interesting in itself because I've been wondering when I was experimenting very quickly earlier, does that then mean it's just enabled? Do I have to do that every time? Also have a note of this file size here. It's quite large, so I imagine that it is including all of these. I mean, those don't quite add up, but then there'd be a lot of shared code, I guess, but we'll find that out later. So I'll drag it on to my, where did it go? I guess because I made the window too small. There we go. So drag it onto the track. I assume it doesn't matter where. Or maybe it does. Oh, we've got spinning beach ball. Never a good sign. Ah, there we go. And here's the various plugins. So let's try have a read of this. So each of the tools can be launched by clicking on its name within the plugin, which opens a separate window. All of the plugins work by choosing one or more clips from Ableton's session view. You must choose a track before selecting your clip. Only MIDI track will show up as options. Once all your selections are made, the generate button will become enabled. Okay. I'm not sure if that strictly makes sense to me, but let's try continue first. I don't see the window. No, it opened. Guess what? It opens in another window. Yes and yes. Okay. Variations. Length. Let's set it a challenge. 8 bars. And what do they say temperature means? Controlling randomness. Okay. Interesting. Generate. And what's it going to do with it? That's what I'm interested. So it's going to output 2 clips dots 3 to 6. Ah, interesting. Okay. So this was my original. Reasonable. Let's listen to the others then. So this is interesting. It started off just doing the same as me, basically. Let's have a look. Where did the plugin go? I want to look at it again, but here it is. 4 variations, 8 bars, randomness of 1. I'm quite sure what randomness of 1 means versus something else. That's not, for a start, that's not 8 bars. That's much more than 8 bars, which is interesting. Or maybe it's I'm not quite sure. It's not 8 bars. Here, it actually goes out of time. It's actually out of time. Listen to that click. And then it goes a bit odd. So it starts off just copying me. Then it takes it up to a kind of a fifth, I think. Goes a little out of time, but that's okay. Maybe that's the randomness. And then does this weird thing. Including this. Yeah. It's not great. Which is encouraging in some ways. Let's listen to number 2. So again it starts with copying me. Gone a little bit out of time again. Not very good, to be honest with you. Okay, let's carry on. Again, it copies me to begin with. This looks a little better. So it's doing what it did earlier, pretty much. Again, it's not 8 bars. It's also out of time again. That wasn't particularly interesting. Less variance. It sounded like it was going to do a kind of a 12-bar blues, but then it didn't finish it. Okay, and then the last one. Again, it copies me. It looks similar to the last one. It's gone out of time again. I mean, it's basically the same. Yeah. So far, I'm not massively impressed. That's okay. There's hope for us yet. Let's try. Typically picks up things like durations, key signatures, and timing. Let's try and decrease the temperature. Oh, I just don't call it randomness. It'd be much easier if you just called it randomness. But I realize now it opens up as a separate application. So let's take it again. I also just noticed something. Drums and melody. That's possibly why it was so random. I had drums selected. I don't know if that means does that mean the input clip is drums, or does that mean what does it mean exactly? It's not particularly melody track. Okay, so that could be my fault. That could be why it was so random. So let's switch it to a melody. Let's just try it again, just to be fair. I think I might go for 4 bars this time, just so it takes a little less time to... Okay. Okay, that could have been my fault, although it was still out of time, which in some respects drums should be more in time. But so here's mine again. Perfectly in time, of course. Okay. Basically just added one extra note here. So it didn't really do a great deal. It's also actually gone out of time again. So this one has a bit more variety. That's interesting because in my head, when it started to do this bit here, in my head, it then should have come down again to do like a note. Oh, hang on. Like back down towards it, but it doesn't, which is interesting. My natural musical temperament thinks it should go somewhere else after that, which is, of course, sometimes why you use these tools for idea generation. So I might take that and think, well, I like some of what you did. Okay, let's try the next one. So, looks like we're going to go down this time. The interesting thing I'm finding with a lot of these is it adds variance, but it doesn't seem to pay too much attention to musical theory. I don't know if that's good or bad. Like a lot of these are not very good melodies, is the thing. Again, that was good, and it was just starting to get an interesting counter melody, and then it stops, and it's also out of time again. All right, let's try the same input again with a little less variance. I just want to hear mine again. It's not perfectly in time, but it's in enough time. It's in time enough, shall we say. Let's try it again then. There are actually 3 others to try here. We're already half an hour in, so let's take that down quite a bit and see what happens. Okay, so basically it's the same pretty much, just with a few random notes thrown in. Looks like we took the variance down too much, I think. basically just playing the same thing over and over again. Yeah, it's not so interesting. Just as an experiment, let's take it like right up. So it was on 1. Let's take it to, okay, all the way to 2. Okay, not that all the way to 2, and then 11. Okay. Let's see what we get here. What madness we get here. Yeah, I can already see it's looking. It's basically just random notes, to be honest with you. It always starts with my riff. Yeah, that's basically just nonsense, to be honest with you. Okay, that was too much. All right. I would really like to try it with a beat, actually. I'm gonna, sake of, no, let's just record a beat. It's probably easier. Drum rack. I'm not hearing anything. I always forget how to use. Oh, there we go. That's so no, still not hearing anything. I might be too low. There we go. Right. Okay. Let's get a kick and a snare. Just go for something very simple. Just to, yeah. Very simple, very boring. Oops. What did I do that for? What did I just... Let's get that over. That is quarter notes. Let's quantize it. Quarter notes. Okay. Bring that into the... So... Yeah. Okay. Continue it again. So kit, that. Let's go for 4 variations. Let's go weird and do 6 bars. Let's take that down to maybe 0.8, something like that. Might actually, just for speed, take it down to 2 variants. Okay. So it's just a straight snare and kick. It's the same. Now what was interesting was this little variant here was quite cool, but then when it comes back, it's out of time again. So, yeah, okay. I guess we do the same here. And then it's out of time again. So yeah, interesting. Okay, it doesn't have a very good sense of timing. Okay, generates a 4-bar phrase with no input necessary. All right, well, let's try that. Let's just get rid of these. And I really don't want to have to keep dragging that plugin. Surely there must be a way to just have it available all the time instead of keep dragging it on, but I'm not seeing any way. So I guess I have to keep dragging it. That doesn't seem like a very good way of doing things, but figure that out another time. Okay, come on. Yes, Glip 2 AI is cool, but this AI is not so not so clever, to be perfectly honest with you. But we'll carry on. So, okay, generate then in this case. Where did it go? Every time I click a button, it's like, where's it going to open? Seemingly nowhere yet. Hello? Wakey, wakey. Anything? Okay, don't know why that's not working. Let's try again. Generate under the hood. The clip selection. Okay, fine. Why are you not why are you not opening though? Maybe it needs to be empty. I don't know. I wouldn't mind drums again. Actually, I like drums. I play drums. Beastly kit. I don't know what that means, but it sounds great. Let's do it. The interesting thing with this plugin is, oh, here we go. Now it's available. Oh no, it's back in there. Oh, how do I get it? If I come out of it, I don't want to have to keep dragging the plugin every time. That feels very inefficient way of doing it. It's not very clear from their own documentation how to just get back to it. I don't know. Maybe I'll just delete that. It wasn't particularly interesting with them. I can afford to lose it. Nothing is happening here. I don't know why generate is not working, but it's not. In honesty, that would be the one I would find most interesting. Maybe we have to quit one of the others first. Let's see. Quit continue. It's not even highlighting the button, which is odd. Okay, generate doesn't want to work. Don't know why. We'll come back to that later. Interpolate takes 2 drum beats and 2 melodies as an input and combines the qualities. All right, let's try that. So I'm going to record. Actually, I should still be just in memory. So there's my first beat. Let's add a second beat. Okay, that's a bit out of time. Let's do that again. Okay, it was still a little bit out of time, but it was better. We can use the power of old school computing nonsense to tidy that up a bit. I'm also not sure if it was different enough. Is my main concern. That's weird. That's exactly the same. Okay, that was odd. That wasn't. I swear that's not what I recorded, but okay. All right. Let's quantize it a bit. Oh, I see. I've over quantized. That's why. I think we'll just leave it as it is. Otherwise, I'm gonna be here all day just getting drum beats to match, which is not quite what I want to be doing. Okay. And then I assume we need to select, and again, I don't know how I get this plugin back. This is the annoying thing with it. It just keeps vanishing endlessly. And then I have to go back and drag it on again. I'm sure there's a better way of doing this, but the web page doesn't seem to want to show me what it is. So for now, I have to keep doing this slightly tedious way. The generate one would be the one I'd be most interested in trying, and I can't seem to get it to work. But so oh, now I have 2 instances of it. Okay. Oh, well, that wasn't. That was odd. Okay, off we go again. 2 is better than 0, I suppose. Maybe I should have just been happy with what I had. Okay. Oh, no, this one. Again, it's not opening. This is a bit of a pain that it's just not working. I am tempted to close it and open it again. Maybe having so many instances of the plugin is it's causing some issues. Yeah, it probably is quite buggy, Glip 2, to be honest with you. It's early days. And where did all my music go? That was annoying. Yeah, that's it. There we go. I'm used to using Ableton Live Lite, with doesn't have very much. So now switching every time to this one is a little slower. In the meantime, you can enjoy watching a spinning beach ball. Come on, there wasn't that much. And there was only 2 instruments and maybe about 8 instances of the same. Oh, look, this is the interesting thing as well we're getting. Okay, so which one shall I click, left or right? Again, nothing seems to be happening. Let's try the one on the right then. That's a shame. Am I missing something? I didn't open them a different way before. No. Yeah, I was trying the standalone earlier. The main issue is I don't really have any MIDI files, but I suppose I could just export these as MIDI files. That would at least get me somewhere. So let's do that. So save that and that. So at least we have some files to mess around with, because yeah, this doesn't seem to be working so well. All right, let's try again. So far, I've successfully managed to get continue to work. Let's try generate. I mean, generate doesn't need any input, so it should just work. Let's see. Again, I'm playing the game of which window is it going to open on. Over here, of course. Generate 4 bars. Output location. Let's just do it to desktop for now, where everything else is. Sure. Oh, come on. I hate it when you get stuck in these technical problems. Okay. Still there. I have sometimes had videos where I've had these stuck on the screen and I've had like 6 of them that I've just moved out the way. Second time lucky. Let's try. I guess that worked. So oh, hang on. I don't think it did. Oh, hard to tell. All right, fine. You don't want to save to the desktop. Okay, I get it. I get it. You don't want to save to the desktop. Let's save to somewhere you're much happier with then. Oh yeah, I tried pressing enter as well. Glip2, trust me. I have got stuck with these dialogues many times before. Sometimes they just seem to lose focus. I don't know. It's weird. Okay, let's save to... Where's safe? Music folder. There we go. Cool. Sure. Don't really know what we're going to get, so there's no harm in just... Let's get some drums and some melody. Okay. Oh. Ah, okay. Well, that's interesting. You can't change the file name. So, so you have to be careful what you have saved. Now, the interesting thing is, I suppose we're going to have to go back into Ableton here. I could open them in GarageBand or something. I don't really have any just basic MIDI playback. It looks like, and it does look like QuickTime doesn't open them anymore, I think. No. QuickTime does not open MIDI files anymore. That's sad. Okay. So I've never actually tried just loading MIDI files into Ableton. I assume we can just do something like that. Yes, good. Okay, so this was melody. I don't think we have an instrument defined. So let's just go for a piano or something like that, just to keep it simple. It's not terrible. Again, we can change the instrument, I suppose. It's not terrible. Okay. So that's basically the same melody. No, and then it changed a bit. Oh, I see, yeah. Okay. It's a similar kind of vibe going on. I don't know if each time you try generating a new pattern, it comes out with a different vibe, maybe. It's a little discordant, which I quite like. But so far, as we've found, it tends to be a little discordant. There's quite a lot here. Maybe we don't need to listen to all of them. Yeah. That was definitely a melody. Yeah. Let's... Oh, actually, you're right. I was going to switch to it. So it is a drums pattern. Okay, let's change it to... I actually quite liked it, though, to be honest with you. Let's I quite liked it as a melody, to be perfectly honest with you, but it's kind of a busy drum pattern. Could change the instrument. What is that instrument? There's one there that's a bit much. Conga. Oh my god, yeah, that's fine. That's better, I think. This would be a ride now. Yeah, makes a bit more sense. I quite like that one, actually. So it definitely seems to prefer the kind of more electro vibe, which seems to be standard with a lot of these tools, to be honest with you. You could could make comments about that, but I won't. Coming from a more analog musical background. see, I like this one, and then it stops for some reason. I quite like this one, actually. Yeah. A little odd. Okay, let's try the melody. It's a shame it overwrites each time, but there you go. Let's pick just a nice piano again. Okay, yeah. I think it wants a kind of getting the increased impression here. It works better with kind of more electronic instruments. So let's try. Why can I not see it? It's odd. Why? So synth. Maybe. Okay, sorry about that. I hurt my ears for far longer than I hurt yours there. All right, let's not use that instrument again. I don't know what that was. Okay, my God, what a horrible instrument that was. Okay, it's a bit more gentle now. So I think the summary seems to be it's better rhythm than melody. The melodies are not great. The rhythms are kind of okay. The melodies are a bit all over the place, to be honest with you. Okay, fine. Get the idea. Let's try the interpolate, however you say that word. Again, we'll play the which window is it going to open on game. None, seemingly. Hello, wakey wakey, where are you? All right, nothing has opened. I don't know what's going on there. Let's try again. Obviously, still is a little buggy. No, okay. Oh, there we go. Here it is. It's coming. So, I did export my drums. So that one, I mean, these were not that different from each other, but let's see. Generate it to desktop. Going to output 3 files. Interesting. Okay. There we go. Actually, I'm going to keep those there for now. Actually, I've got the files. I don't need to keep them all. Let's see what we got here. Oh, that's the glockenspiel still playing. So that's basically just a mishmash of the 2 beats. It's fine. random hi-hat. And that's basically the same beat, I think. Yeah. And it wasn't the most, I didn't give it the most interesting input, so fair enough. So I think there's one more I haven't tried. Drumify. Yes. I like this. So it takes one clip, and I'm assuming it wants to bassline or melody, or create a drum track from a tapped rhythm. So does that mean I can use audio files? Because that would be cool. Let's see. Groove. I do have a tendency to come up with lots of rhythms with my fingers. And my usual version of it, there is a feature in one of the more expensive versions of Ableton that will convert that stuff to MIDI for you, but I don't have that version. So this would do it. But let's see, will this let me choose any file? No. Okay, so still has to be MIDI, I suppose. Any input. Tapped rhythm. Works best with performed inputs. I guess I still have to do MIDI though, I suppose. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, it still wants MIDI. So what's it going to do? I also think this... No. But it's going to... so, okay. I need to give it a melody, right? Okay. So let's take the bass line. Just the same length, I suppose. Generating. Okay. So let's put that back into a bass. Yeah, that was that one. I'm still learning Ableton, to be perfectly honest with you. Let's put the... That's not my original bass line. Oh, no, here it is. Did I've got a bad feeling No, that was the right thing. I had a bad feeling I fed it a drum pattern then. Okay. So this should be the bass line. Yep. All right. And we have our drum kit here. Let's delete those and yeah, that's it. It's okay. I think I'm ready to summarize here. I think most of my feedback all kind of has the same vibe, same groove. So that was Magenta, whatever you want to describe it. Studio, the music version. There is also an image version based on TensorFlow. I don't know if a lot of Google's AI research will now be going to other places. This has existed for a little bit of a time. It's now up to version 1, I think, interestingly. So I looked at the Ableton plugin. That seemed to get broken a bit, and the standalone version worked better, but it's a bit fiddly having to keep moving files backwards and forwards. There was Continue, which takes a groove and then continues it with variants. There was Generate, which just generates pretty randomly. Interpolate, I don't know, which takes 2 clips and sort of does something with them. It wasn't completely clear what it did. Groove, which took a melody and then added a drum beat over it. Oh, and Drumify. Oh, I don't think I Oh, no, no, no. Groove. Which one? I don't think we actually did the groove one. Drumify creates a beat based on a melody. Groove. I don't think we did groove. So it basically quantizes a drum clip in a sort of a way. Okay, I think we have time for that now. My basic feeling is it doesn't have a very good sense of timing, actually. A lot of the output is out of time, but then I think this is I think where the disconnect here is that it's just treating the input as raw MIDI. So I don't think MIDI files have a sense of beats per minute or anything like that. So it just tends to generate MIDI files. You would think with a drum pattern it would make it go in time, but it doesn't really. Maybe that Groove plugin does. I'm not sure. So often a lot of things went out of time. Obviously with MIDI and with quantize and all sorts of things, you could compensate for a lot of that. But that was one thing I noticed. The drum patterns were okay. They're quite electronica type stuff. I mean, that seems to be fairly standard in this kind of world, I think. I have seen some sort of classical music AI tools, but they tend to be more electronica. I think because electronica tends to be more more ordered. I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure if that's really the right thing to say, but it just seems to be the genre it tends to be in. I'm sure I could have fed it something different. But a lot of the melodies tend to be a bit all over the place, to be honest with you. They weren't particularly melodious. They often had just a little thing in there that was kind of nice. But to be honest with you, I could have probably got the same inspiration, the same ideas from using an arpeggiator, from using just a sample in Ableton or GarageBand or Logic or whatever. So I mean, it's interesting. I'm not sure how much I would use it. If I could get the Ableton plugin to work more reliably, maybe I would. There were some interesting ideas, but nothing outstanding that, I don't know. So maybe next time I have an actual piece that I'm stuck on and I don't know where to take it next, I might give it a go. Because those initial ideas there, often it was the beginning of a good idea, maybe. But that's fine as well. Sometimes that's in the case of AI tools with a lot of these text-based ones, it's similar. It helps you finish a sentence, doesn't help you write the next paragraph. So maybe that's a good analogy. Anyway, it was an interesting to experiment with. Not sure if we're going to keep it around, but it was an interesting experiment. I hope you found it interesting too. It's available just on, I can actually get the website right now. Magenta.tensorflow.org, free to download. You don't have to use Ableton if you don't want to. Give it a go. See what you get out of it. You'll need something to play the MIDI back, of course. If you found this interesting, you can find more about me at christianchiller.com. Please leave a comment. Thanks to the people who did join me in the chat room. If you join later, then also leave some feedback. And I'll be back in a few hours with something very different. It is Streaming Friday, and that is going to be a game book. Good old classic 90s game book. Maybe I should generate some music. No, that might get a bit weird. I don't think I have the time in the next 3 hours, but that would be interesting, actually. Anyway, I'll go off and ponder that. In the meantime, I have been Christian Chiller. Thank you very much for joining me.